I need some playmakers. If you'll give me Sid or Malkin for a little bit, I think they could be a little more productive.
Is this your first time doing this trip?
The first time with the global trip for
Yeah.
me. I've done a couple of Hockey Canada events. You've been here before?
We had scouting meetings here in March, and then I was with the team at the Worlds in May again, and we were here for 2 weeks watching those two kids for the draft,
Yeah.
Frondell and Eklund, not knowing where we were going to pick, and then back again for the World Championship, and now back. This is a third time in Stockholm in 2025.
Oh wow,
So yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
It's a great city. I love the old town, getting
Yeah.
around there.
It is
We
great.
had a lot of walking yesterday, so how's your season going? Obviously a lot better than ours
Well,
at this
it's
point.
up
but-
and up. I mean, it's been good. Dan's come in and done a really good job right from training camp on. The veteran guys are obviously so proud, so they've played very well, all of them. And I think Mike Sullivan did an unbelievable job here, but 10 years is a long time as a coach, and now you see the impact he's having, especially of late, going to the Rangers, and they're starting to find their stride. But I just think it's probably time for everybody to kind of get a refresh, and Dan's been able to come in. It's a whole new coaching staff, and I think it's had a really strong impact. We've got Mike Stuthers and Todd Nelson as veteran guys, and then Nick Bonino and Rich Clune, who
Yeah.
you know as younger coaches, and that mix has been really good. And we sort of have that on the roster too. You've got the veterans that are in their 20th season together, and then you got 18 and 19-year-olds who weren't alive when those guys started playing.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's been good.
It's been pretty good. I know your coaching staff, especially being and Rich Clune is a really interesting path. I mean,
Yes.
I'm a big supporter of Richie because of his whole life,
Right.
Going through all the problems he has. He can relate to the guys. So I
Yeah.
think those two guys in your staff are really nice mix. And I was a coach in one place in Nashville for a long time, and
Right.
there is something to be said with I left Nashville and probably was good for the people in Nashville and the players because you get the same voice all the time. At the same time, it refreshed myself going to Washington. So I think you've done a really nice job this year with your veterans have really stepped up for you.
Yeah, and I think the younger guys have brought good energy.
Yeah.
So how have you enjoyed going from coaching into managing?
It's been difficult. I have excellent people around me. Obviously, guys like Brian Poyle, who's
Right.
been around, and obviously he's very similar to David. He's very organized, been in the game forever, and
Right.
done everything. And I think that part has really helped me. The one thing that I miss, and I call it game day, is being in the dressing room, being a part of those quick decisions, being a part of everything from the emotions to everything. And you feel like, I think as a coach, you feel like you can affect the game quicker. As a general manager, I don't know if you feel this, but for me, I feel like I'm the best way to describe it is I'm on that long-term injury reserve.
Right.
I'm part of the team, but I don't have a immediate effect on the team sometimes, even though you do. But I miss the real closeness that you have as a coach, and I'll just say you feel like you can affect things a little quicker. So that's been a big transition for me. Further I get away from the coaching aspect, the more it becomes more normal. So,
Right.
But it's been the first couple of years been a little more difficult that way, and because you want to do everything immediately.
Right, it's helpless. This time of the day, especially a few hours before the game, there's not a lot you can do, and then the game starts, and your whole mood is predicated on the team playing poorly or playing well or having success, and there's nothing you can really do to influence it once it starts. But you're also judged completely on that. So it's going back to the Sioux and then Toronto and here. It's an angst, I think, that goes the whole game.
In my position, I obviously been in coaching for so long. As a coach, I was always about pure winning and losing. There was no gray.
Right.
And as I got to be a more mature coach, it was all about the process. And I found that if you're playing well, the score sometimes is irrelevant. And I want to say it in the right way. If you're playing well and you're doing the right things in the process, it'll come around and you'll do your share of winning.
Right.
I remember as a coach, there'd be times when we'd win a game and I would chew into our team big time. And there'd be times when we played really well and lost, and I'd praise them. And I just felt I had as I matured as a coach, I had a better understanding of the process and what looks like a good team and what looks like a team that's not going to go anywhere. So
Right.
That's been a little more difficult when you're a little bit more removed.
Right. Or if your own coaches don't see it that way, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been very conscious of not trying to coach my team.
Right.
if that makes any sense, because I've been in the league a long time, and I try to assist when asked. So I've taken a step back. At times I want to bite my tongue, but I have learned to keep I'll say a more standoffish approach. And I've had Bruno, I talk to Bruno every day. We have a really good relationship. He's really a sharp hockey guy.
Yeah.
I'm probably a little more old school in some of the stuff I would do, but he's played the game at 1,100 games. He's played in the Coast League. He's played in the American League. He's been in every part of management. So he's been a really good person for our organization. First year, we really overachieved in terms of our record. We thought we'd be in the 3 or 4 years of pain. We really didn't have any pain for the first 2 years. Last year was painful. Because expectations went really high. We were at a point in our organization where really felt that we still had some good players. We could stay relevant for a little bit and maybe be a little bit dangerous. We had the older players and we didn't have any young players.
Right.
And the middle was sort of gone. So trying to extend it, went to free agency as you know, and got some of those veteran players and picked up draft choices, and now we're just trying to wait for them. And that's the hard part in this business, because we were in the playoffs for 14, 15 years, just very similar to Pittsburgh, had a good run, never won the cup there, but the cupboards were bare and they're trying to fill the cupboards, and now waiting is the hard part, because everybody wants it immediately.
Right. But the Wood kid has now come on to the
scene. We're starting to see glimpses of you're going to see the Wood kid. Matthew is coming out of college and he's starting to get a taste of the NHL. You're going to guys like Tanner Molendyk, and obviously we got Brady Martin this year in the draft.
He's going to be good because of where you drafted him from.
The Sioux. There's a connection. I love the kids, and this year in the Sioux. I love kids that are. I call it hard skill.
Right.
They're hard and they play with skill, but they don't really think of themselves as skillful players, even though they're tremendously skilled. So I'm trying to build that. I've got some shooters. I need some playmakers. I don't have enough playmakers. If you give me Sid or Malkin for a little bit, I think they could be a little more productive. But we're in that transitional phase where we're not in. I don't want to say a rebuild, but we sort of are. But I just call it a build.
Right.
We're starting to build. We've got some older players that hopefully can keep us relevant for a bit, and we got some young players that we got to wait for. You know how hard that is in this business.
Sounds like we're living the same thing. And we have guys that have won a long time. You have guys that you brought in free agency, whether it's Marchessault or Stamkos. They've come off of winning Stanley Cups in consecutive years, save for the Colorado year in between, and Conn Smythe trophies. And they continually, our guys obviously having won 3 Stanley Cups in Pittsburgh and been together for so long, they want to get back there and win again. And similar to your situation you're talking about, where there's that lack of middle, I think. And when I got here, those guys were in their mid-30s, kind of bordering on to late 30s, and then there was sort of a gap after it was Brian Rust and Jake Gensel, to go down to and Tristan Jarry to the guys in their 20s. So it's been trying to backfill that and get some of the younger guys to come along. Those players that have had that success and are such elite competitors, I think when you get there, patience isn't necessarily the greatest virtue, but it's been trying to just continue to keep them in the loop. It's always good. You talked about Matthew Wood, like for us, whether it's Ben Kindle or different players coming up, Ville Koivunen, Harrison Brunick, or the goaltender Miroshov. It's when the guys start to come up and they see that there are good players coming, it tends to help a little bit. So.
Yeah, it does. I think players understand players pretty well. I mean, I always look at the top players when you bring a young player and stick him in the lineup. Right. I just watch the older players, and this is probably from the coaching aspect. Players know players, and you can always tell right away if the other players think the young guy's either ready or going to be a player. Right. They have that. They sense that, and that's something that I think even as coaches or scouts or fans, you don't get to see that. Right. It's in the inner stuff. So, we've tried to identify that when we could. Try to keep listen to the older players. Because they will tip you off if this guy's
Did you find that was more so when you were coaching, the guys would come up to you and tell you that, or do you find it more so in management?
I found it more so in coaching, because players would come up and say, hey, if you want to put that player with me, I wouldn't mind playing with them. Right. Those are a little more telling. I think as a manager, when I coached, I was sort of tried to have a relationship with players. I always looked at myself as they're all my kids.
Right.
I'm sort of the father, and I'm going to love you. I might not like the way you play, and I'll let you know. But next day I'm going to love you, and we're going to let it go, and you can have a relationship. And I think they're more open to talking to you. As a manager, you don't get that opportunity as much. So it's a little harder, but I think I try to carry that over a little bit where they can feel like they can come up and talk to me once in a while, which is hopefully a quality I can continue to have as long as I'm doing this job.
It was great, Barry. Thanks for taking. I know we get a game coming up, but it's great to sit down, and you don't get many instances like this where the teams are staying in the same spot where you get to do this before the game. So it was great, and look forward to the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these things are great. I appreciate it. Good cup of coffee too.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll have a few cups of coffee in Sweden with the lack of daylight sometimes.
So it's always available.